So thank you so much for joining. My name is Kristen, and this class is active yoga basics. And like I was mentioning earlier, this class is usually a lot more active than it's going to be today. I have a little bit of an injury in one of my intercostal muscles, so I'm just going to be moving a little bit more gentle. So hopefully that will give you an opportunity to move a little bit more gentle than maybe you're used to as well. Okay, so we're going to start standing like we always do, building mountain pose. Start by separating your feet hip width distance. If you are unsure about that in your body, take two fists next to each other, take your time bending down, and put those fists in between the big toes and see if that helps you with your alignment, and then come back up to standing. Of course, if you can't reach that part of your body that quickly, just close one eye and aim the best you can. Or maybe you're in a seat, right? And you're just replacing a block in between the feet. That could be helpful for you as well, okay? So arms down by your sides. Take a moment to roll those shoulders up and back, and then let them settle. Ground down from your feet and lift up all your toes. Try to spread them out really wide, and then place them back down on your mat. Begin to move here, lifting and lowering the heels. So if that's going to affect your balance, maybe have something near you like a wall space or a piece of furniture. Engage your core and lift your heels up. And then bring your heels down. Maybe you lift your toes forwards and backwards, lifting and lowering your heels. Just going to adjust my camera a little bit. Tilt it up just a bit. Hopefully you can see me a little bit better. I am a tall person. So you're lifting up your heels. You might feel your calves engage. When you press your heels down, you might feel them really press down into the floor. And when you've had enough with just going forwards and backwards, add a little movement side to side, rolling to the outer edge of one foot, the outer edge of your other foot. And you can do this as many times as you like. A lot of times the tension in the rest of our body is from the feet, right? So if you notice a place in your feet that feels a little tender, a little extra, sensitive, notice where that is. Spend a little extra time there massaging that space out, and maybe another part of your body will feel more comfortable later today. So when you're good, come back to your center, ground down from those feet, lift up your toes again, try to spread them out a little bit wider, and then place them back down on your mat. With your arms by your sides, flip your palms forward, but it doesn't have to be this big exaggerated movement, right? Just flip them a little bit forward, roll the shoulders up and back to help set them. Sometimes this brings our chin forward, so draw it back, and that might mean you take your hand to your chin to push it back. Inhale to get a little bit taller. And on your exhale, relax your shoulders. Closing your eyes if that's available to you. If that's too much for your balance or whatever reason, think of pointing or focusing on the space in between the eyebrows or the tip of your nose. Deep breath in. And a slow breath out. And if it's a part of your practice, palms together at the center of your chest, Anjali Mudra, and just take a moment here to create an intention for your practice. This could just be a moment of silence. This doesn't have to be anything at all. And take a deep breath in and a slow breath out. Opening up your eyes, interlace your fingers. If you are new to this class, just watch for a moment. Interlace your fingers, place them underneath your chin. You'll try to keep this the whole time through this breathing exercise. So try to keep the fingers from leaving the chin if possible. Look up towards your ceiling, engage your core, and with your exhale, which will be a loud ha sound, try to draw your elbows in towards each other. Best you can, just like this. On your inhale, level your chin, lift your elbows simultaneously. Exhale, head back, loud ha sound. When you draw in your core, you squeeze your elbows in. Inhale, level your chin, lift your elbows up. Exhale, head back, elbows in. I'll turn to the side to show you. Inhale. Exhale. Keeping your shoulders down. Inhale, lift your elbows. Exhale, head back. Squeeze all the air out, elbows touch when breathless. Release your arms down by your sides, back to your mountain pose. With your inhale, reach the arms up overhead, take your time. Interlace your fingers, release your index fingers, cross your thumbs. And with your arms extended overhead best you can, just a little rocking side to side. And that super hurts my back today. So for me, it's going to be better for me to have my hands at heart center, maybe even hands at the hips. Maybe just avoid my whole left side together. We'll see. But the point is that there's always options. And always know that they exist for you because your body might tell you you need to do something different one day. So finding a little space between the ribs and the hips as you move, core stays drawn in. You can take little circles around your waist if that feels good, if that feels like it's available to you. I will skip that today. You can go a little forwards and backwards, lifting up the chest. When you lift up the chest, make sure you pull in from the belly button, press down from your feet. You could reach your arms forward and take one hip back and then the other. So just finding out how those hips and ribs are feeling today. And then come back to your center. So your arms could be extended up overhead, bringing the big toes in towards each other. Maybe your heels touch. Your hands could be at heart center. Your hands could be at your hips. With your inhale, lift up from your chest. With your exhale, stretch up and over to your right. Try to keep your hips in place. So we reach up from the chest, pull down from the shoulders, draw the line of your chin back. Biceps are pretty close to the ears eventually. And we're pressing down from the feet, maybe even a little more from your left foot. Engage your glutes, engage your core. Inhale to lengthen up. Exhale to reach over. Keep drawing in your core. Inhale back up for your center. When you're ready, move to the other side. Reaching over to the left. Hips stay lined up. Sometimes we begin to twist. The hips go a little forward. The shoulders move in the opposite direction. So try to line yourself up first and then stretch. And when you start to get a little twisted in your stretch, just back up and work in that place where you're aligned first. Let the body resolve its, self over time. It will untwist. Lifting up from the chest, grounding down from the feet. Deep breath in. Exhale and reach. Inhale back up. And with your exhale, arms down by your sides, back to your mountain pose. So we'll set up for a chest lift or a back bend, and I'll be teaching that with a block in between the thighs. You might prefer to have the block in between your feet. You might not even want to use a block at all, and that's okay too. Blocks are going to help you turn on your inner thigh muscles. When you have that sort of resistance there, that's going to in turn draw the pelvic floor up. You're going to use those inner thigh muscles, so it's going to wrap around the hips to help support your back. And when you support your back and your lower back, especially through the glutes and a back bend, it's going to open up some space in the pelvis there to help you lift up and get more of a back bend, as opposed to just crunching down into your lower back. So feet about hip width distance, hands, flip the palms down so the fingers point down, and then place your hands at your lower back. Take those elbows and draw them in the best you can. It's okay if it's not much. You want to feel a stretch in the front of your torso. Engage from the core, squeeze the block if you have it. Inhale, lift up your chest. And on your exhale, shift your hips forward. Now this could mean a little bit of pressure from your hands into your lower back to press your hips forward, but then shift your weight back into your heels. Go back to lifting up the chest, elbows in, and you just work in that sort of circular motion. Press the hands into the lower back, that brings the hips forward, and shift the weight back to the heels, lifting up the chest. Just a chain reaction there. You might feel that extra space created. Now belly button in, squeeze the block, squeeze your glutes. Inhale back up. Exhale back to your mountain pose. You can keep the block there. You can move it, whatever you like. Inhale, reach your arms up overhead. On your exhale, we're going to open up the chest by taking the elbows out. So kind of like a goal post, right? Sometimes we have called it a cactus shape in some places of the country up top. Same principles are happening. We're grounding from the feet, squeezing the block, lifting the chest, elbows out, elbows and thumbs lined up. Inhale, reach your arms back up overhead. And on your exhale, forward fold, the best and safest way for your body. So that could be hands through heart center. More support would mean walking your hands down your legs. And just take your time in your fold. Grab opposite elbows when you get there. Have as much of a bend in your knees as you require. There's nothing wrong with a humongous bend in your knees, right? If that's what your body needs from you, if that's what's required, that's okay. Better to be in that shape than to, tear a hamstring, because then you're going to have way less range of motion. So let your head be heavy. Tuck your chin if that's helpful. Maybe you sway a little left and right. Feel those vertebrae start to lengthen towards the floor. And you can stay here, or if your shoulders are open enough, you could take a shoulder opener. So hands towards your lower back, interlace your fingers, knuckles up and then overhead. If it's difficult for you to get much of a stretch here, a lot of times the front of our shoulders are just really tight. So you could take a block or even something like a scarf in between your hands. And that space, that extra space is going to let you have a deeper stretch through the shoulders. Just adding some flexibility there for you. So wherever you are, take a deep breath in. And on your exhale, release your hands down towards the floor or your blocks and take some time to lower your heels down. You may have to go very slow here. If your knees and ankles don't like this, maybe it's a surgery or an old injury, just come back to your fold and we'll be back with you in a second. So if you're in your fold, think of drawing the weight back towards the heels, but not lowering the heels towards the floor unless that's natural for you. Some people are able to just lower their feet down. That is not me. So you can think of squeezing the knees in towards each other. This will help open your lower back. And chin towards your chest, shoulders away from your ears, elbows in towards the sides of your body, just like you're holding yourself into a little ball shape. And then look a little forward and see if you can lift your heels up, stretch those feet, and then bring your heels down. Sometimes the ankles are going to make some noises here. And then come back to your fold. All right, so feet hip width distance. Check in with those hands in between your toes at any time. Remember, you can have as much of a bend in your knee as you require. Set up one of your blocks in front of you. We'll start with the right hand down first. So when you ground your right hand, look for the wrist, the elbow, and the shoulder to be all lined up. We'll bend both knees, but we're going to bend the right knee more. So bend your right knee more. Ground your right hand. Engage your core with your inhale, twist. Left arm reaches up. So sometimes the left arm doesn't want to reach up. It just wants to lift up a little bit. It might be better for you to reach your arm forward, flip the palm up that way. Sometimes it's better for people to just reach the arm straight out enough, right? We have different things in our bodies that make us rotate a little bit differently. So see what works best for you. Shoulder blades in, lifting up your chest. Press down from the toes and heels equally. Deep breath in. Slow breath out. Slowly come back to your fold. Let it go. Let your head be heavy. And we'll switch to the other side. So left hand grounds. Set up from the wrist through the shoulder. Bend both knees. Bend your left, left knee more. Engage your core, and on your inhale, twist. Reaching the right arm up. You have options with your arms always. You could flip the palm away, work into a half bind. You can isolate more with your hand at your lower back, opening more from the shoulder. There's always options for you. Ground from your feet, deep breath in, exhale and twist. And slowly come back to your fold. Hands to your shins, inhale, lift up halfway. On your exhale, set your blocks up towards the top of your mat. Walk forward if you need to. Then bend your knees, seal up your core, point your right toes straight back. You can squeeze your heel up towards your glute if you're looking for a challenge. And then step your right foot back towards the edge of your mat. Lower your right knee down. More stability, keeps the toes tucked under like that. For less stability or just a different experience, you can point your toes straight back instead. So I like the toes tucked under, and then flip your blocks up, lift up your chest, walk those blocks back if you need to. Walk your left foot forward if that adds to your flexibility. Just make sure that your knee and your ankle stay lined up with each other, or your knee stays behind your ankle, just not beyond it. Deep breath in. Exhale slowly to your half splits, not as scary as it sounds, half splits. Flexing your left foot, wiggle out through the hips, make sure they feel pretty even. Sometimes the right hip's gonna lean a little bit further back here. So lift up from your chest, you could stay here, or you could point and flex your left foot, working through some nerve glides, pointing and flexing. And then flex your foot. Engage your core with your inhale, shift back to your lunge. Feel your right hip shift forward and a little bit down. Deep breath in. Exhale, half splits, flexing your left foot. Square through the hips. Pulling those toes back, lifting up your chest. Inhale to your lunge. Feel it in the right hip. On your next exhale, back to your half splits. So hold this one. If you'd like to add some depth, you lift your chest, point your elbows back behind you, just hinge a little bit forward. And you could have a big bend in your knee to hinge forward, that's okay. Press back from the left hip, out from the left heel, squeeze the left thigh as you fold. And this could be just a little tiny fold. Inhale back to your lunge. Tuck those back toes if you haven't already. Lift your back knee up off your mat. Look a little bit forward, hover your right knee down. Inhale, lift up your right leg, flex your foot. Exhale and forward fold. Let your head be heavy. Inhale, lift up halfway, shoulders back. With your exhale, bend your knees, pick up your left foot, point your toes straight back. And when you're ready, step back to your lunge. Same thing, different side, could be a totally different experience. So set up to the top of your foot, tucking the toes or pointing. Check in with your right knee, make sure it's lined up with the back of your right heel. Feel the left hip shift forward, lift up your chest, breathing in. On your exhale, half splits, flex your right foot. So check in with the hips, make sure you're not leaning to one side, and then move through some nerve glides, pointing and flexing. Flex your foot, engage your core, inhale to your lunge. So feel the left hip press forward, it could be a huge stretch for you. On your exhale, shift back to your half split, hold that flexion, so pull the toes back. Inhale to your lunge. Exhale to your half splits, holding this one. So create space up from the torso. Flex the right foot with as much of a bend in your knee as you need to. And then hinge forward, elbows in. Shoulders back. Inhale to your lunge. Tuck your back toes, lift your back knee up off your mat. Strong from that left thigh, look forward, bend your left knee just a bit. Inhale, lift your left leg, flex your foot. Exhale, forward fold. So from here, separate your feet, hip width distance. You have options here, tons of options. Maybe one I'm not even going to mention. You could take your hands behind the back of your calves. You could slide your hands under your ankles or underneath your heels. You could go underneath the sides of your feet, peace fingers around your toes. There's so many different variations of this stretch. On your inhale, lift up your chest, shoulders back. On your exhale, gently pull your upper body down. So engage the core and draw your upper body towards the legs. Let your head be heavy. Then slide the shoulders back.
Shift your weight towards your toes and you might feel your inner thighs spin inwards to help you lift your hips a little bit higher. Deep breath in. Slow breath out. Release your hands to your shins. Inhale to lift up halfway. And on your exhale, fold. So chin to your chest, slowly roll up to standing. And for our standing posture today, or our standing postures in general, since we're going to do things a little bit differently, we're just going to do tree today. We'll hit the floor, do a little bit of core work, and then we're going to do some supported stretches through the upper body from the ground. So for tree, we'll start by pressing the left foot into the floor. Lift up your right heel and take your knee out to the right. This could be your tree. This is a perfect tree. If you want to go any deeper into adding balance, you begin to slide your right heel up off the floor. For some of us, this could mean placing the foot on a block instead of on the leg. From here, you might feel like sliding the heel up a little bit further. Then you might start feeling like the knee is the perfect place because it does kind of fit in there, but please bypass the knee and use your hand to bring the foot either towards the center of the thigh or up towards the inner thigh. But just make sure you haven't lost your hip opener along the way with whatever you choose. So one or both hands at the center of your chest. Ground from the toes to the heel of your left foot. Engage your left thigh and your glute, lifting up your chest. Track your right knee open. So from here, there's no such thing as a wrong tree anyways, but do what feels best for you. That could mean extending the arms up, out. You could play around with your balance, just moving your hands around. You could take your hands to your lower back, interlacing your fingers, lifting your chest for a nice chest opener. Just again, make sure you don't lose the hip opener. It's really easy to lose the hip opener. Deep breath in. Slow breath out. When you're ready, slowly begin to close the pose, bringing your right foot down. I like to turn my left toes under after that, just to stretch the top of my foot after standing right there, focusing on that standing and that balance. So ground the right foot down, lift your left heel, take your knee out to your left, and you could have a totally different tree on this side, right? Just bypass the knee. So whatever you choose to do, maintain the hip opener. If your tree falls, you have time to try again. Ground from the foot, squeeze the right thigh, squeeze the glute, track the left knee open. Deep breath in, slow breath out. Slowly release your tree back to your mountain pose. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, forward fold. However you'd like to get into your fold, take your time. Inhale, lift up halfway. On your exhale, round yourself into that little ball, squat and curl. And we'll make our way down to the floor. So you could reach your arms forward to shift your hips back. You may have a better way to get down to the floor for you. All right, so we'll take a seated forward fold here, flexing the feet as much of a bend as you require in your knees. And if you like to just add some support, pop something underneath the knees to help you so you're not working against your inflexibility. You can still get a stretch and protect yourself. So inhale, arms reach up. Engage your core, lift your chest, and on your exhale, fold forward and see how far you can reach forward. That's going to help you extend from your spine and then bring the arms down to something. Lifting up from your chest, breathe in, exhale and fold. And if you feel pretty good in this fold, you're welcome to lower your head down. We are just getting very good at rounding. So I'm personally trying to do that less. I'm very good at rounding. Probably need to be better at less rounding. Deep breath in, slow breath out. And when you're ready, slowly come on up. Okay, so from here, scoot towards the edge of your mat. Bring your feet to the floor. I'm going to have this long pillow with me down here just because I know I'm going to use it in a few minutes. If you have something similar, go ahead and just put it up there by your head.
All right, a block in between the knees. Because you know that's going to help you turn on your thighs and protect your back when we go to lower down here. So press down from the big toes. Feel the difference when you press your big toes down. Engage your glutes, reach your arms, lift up your chest, breathe in. On your exhale, use your belly button towards your spine and slowly try to roll down one vertebrae at a time. If you need more support, you let your hands go to the floor. And then draw the knees into your chest. Give yourself a little squeeze. And move the block to the side. Kick your heels up towards the ceiling, flexing your feet. You could still use a block here in between the feet if you like to have something to hold on to. Or you could balance the block on top of your feet if you're really trying to get serious. So reach the fingertips towards your toes, belly button towards your spine. Hold it here or pulse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, on 1, lift up and hold. Bring your palms together, reach over to the right, keep kicking up from your heels, hold or pulse. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, on 1, lift up and hold. Reach over to the left, hold it here or pulse. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, on 1, lift up and hold. Reach back to your center, lift a little bit more, squeeze in your core, and on your exhale, lower down, knees in, rock your head a little side to side. And then extend your left leg long, hang on to your right knee, flex both feet. When you are flexing your left foot, kick out from the heel. Feel this from the inner thigh. Flexing the right foot, draw the knee in towards the chest with your shoulders down. Inhale, belly lifts up. Exhale, pull your knee towards your chest. Inhale, belly expands. Exhale and pull. Keep kicking the left leg. We'll do one more round. Inhale. Exhale and pull. Release your right foot down. Slide your hips over to the right and set up for a twist. So if you would like to do this in a more restorative way, take a bolster and place it from the knee to the ankle. You could use blocks similarly. You can reach the arms out into a T shape. Try to keep the right shoulder down. And that might mean you have to add something like a pillow to go underneath your right shoulder. And that could even help you open up from your arm, right? We have a lot of tightness in this part of our bodies. So deep breath in. Slow breath out. Engage from your core and slowly come back to your center. Slide your hips back into place, and back into place means your shoulders and your hips are pretty close to lined up with each other. Extend the right leg, pull your left leg in, flex both feet. Inhale, belly lifts up. Exhale, pull your left knee towards the left side of your chest. Inhale. Exhale and pull. Last one, inhale. Exhale and pull. Left foot down, slide your hips over to the left and set up for your twist on this side. Deep breath in. Slow breath out. And roll back to your center. Slide your hips back into place. Pull your knees into your chest. Give yourself a little squeeze. You might like to rock a little left and right. Little circles around the hips could feel good. Do whatever you need, and then take your time rolling to your side, and we'll just come up to our seat for a moment to set up for our next shape.
So depending on what we're using, this is going to be different for all of us. You may have a pillow that's kind of like I guess they're technically called a lumbar pillow. You may have something like this, so you could use this, and we're going to think of this as supporting the length of our spines. If you don't have something like this, you could use a blanket and just roll it up long ways. You could use like an old foam roller, though you're probably going to also need something to support the back of your head if you have something really lifting you up, okay? You may want to have a pillow for your head anyways. Okay, so what we're going to do here by using the support on the spine, even though it's super soft, is lifting up the area of the spine, right? From the front line of the body and the back line of the body. So what that's going to do is help all those spaces surrounding to stretch. So the front of the chest will stretch, the abdomen will stretch, and the backside will stretch as well, like the lower back, the thoracic spine, the cervical spine, right? And you'll really feel it when you move out of the shape. Now, if you start to feel it and it feels uncomfortable in the shape, the blood pressure is rising, you're feeling pain, maybe some nerve pains or something like that starts happening, that's an indication that you've not supported yourself enough. So you can get more things involved, like pillows, blankets, that sort of deal, or you could just choose to skip the posture and maybe try it again another time, okay? So this shape will ultimately take us into our final shape, but we are going to do a couple of things within this shape, okay? So if you'd like to just be still and have an extended supported Shavasana, of course, you're welcome to that. But I will be speaking here and there until I let you know that I won't be talking for a bit, okay? So opening up the chest sometimes can make you feel a little bit dizzy. You can have dizziness because it's more increased blood flow, more oxygen to that area. So if it is too much for you, if it induces panic, right, that's not going to help you feel better later today. So come out of it, get your head a little bit higher, or just support yourself differently. Maybe you just need to add something underneath the knees, especially if you had something going on in your lower back, okay? So set yourself up for what feels best for you. You know, if you've been to a chiropractor before and they've given you a bunch of stuff to work with at home, some of those things can work in your yoga practice for you as well. What I want you to think of here mostly is my spine supported, right? That's one of the most important parts of your body. So if you don't feel supported, if you feel like you're rocking or you're going to fall or something like that, give yourself some more support. If you are so lifted in your spine that now your arms don't touch the floor, then you can add stuff underneath your arms or choose to have less support under your spine. Okay. So you can have your legs straight if you like. There's nothing wrong with that at all, but you might like to add a hip opener. So if you want to add a hip opener, you'll bring the soles of your feet together. And they could be way far away from the body. They don't have to be close. Soles of the feet together, knees open. Choose to have some kind of support underneath the thighs that's going to change the shape for you and allow your body to relax a lot more. So underneath the knees could be a place for support. Underneath the feet could be a place for support as well and change the whole shape. Over time, maybe you draw the knees in or the heels in closer and closer, but you're still using some kind of support underneath the thighs. I'm not going to be in a hip opener. I'm going to go back to straightening the legs, but please do keep yourself in a hip opener if that feels good for you. If we have some lower back issues and maybe want to get some more blood flowing to that part of our body, take this bolster similar to what I have down here. And when you have the soles of your feet together and your knees open, put the bolster underneath your feet and it's going to automatically lift everything up and shift your alignment. So you have a different, better experience in your lower back. All right, so we'll go arms down by our sides. If you'd like a more opening opportunity through the chest, you could have your arms overhead, palms facing up, and place them underneath the pillow. Maybe that's under your head, or maybe you have a different situation going on. If this causes pain in your elbows, please don't do it. All right, so from here, we're just going to try to scan the body to relax. Maybe you have areas that you know are very tight and they're fighting you right now. So you need to just spend some time breathing into those spaces, telling those areas that it's okay to calm down. And then maybe one day that area of your body will listen. Deep breath in, let your belly lift up. And slow breath out, let your shoulders soften. Notice the space between your eyebrows. Just try to let that area soften. If you're clenching your jaw, try to wiggle your jaw a little bit and let it go. Notice your right shoulder and your left shoulder. See if you can get them to settle down. Then check in with your core muscles. Maybe you're still engaging. Just let it go. And same for your hips, your left hip and your right hip. And then think of relaxing both hips together. So you take this time to practice this technique of relaxing through your own body. And you'll notice that your muscles will start to re-engage. That is their purpose, to engage and protect. And this is where we practice letting go. So I'll be quiet here for just a moment or so, maybe about 30 seconds, and then we'll move into a different option. And if you are so comfortable here, then you do not need to do anything. But if you'd like to move into another shape, I'll offer. Take your arms across your body and close your shoulders. So often we move into the next shape without closing these big joints in our body. If you're in a hip opener, draw your knees in towards each other, or you could just straighten your legs and point your toes away from your body. And then when you're ready, bend your knees, roll to your side, and just take a moment to come up slow. Okay, so if you're using a pillow similar to mine now, maybe you turn it, and it's going to support the curve of our spine. Sometimes we want that to be a little bit more supportive, so you might take something more like a traditional just square pillow. It's just going to depend on the size of your torso and the curve of your spine for what's going to feel best for you. I'm sure that there are some people that have so much flexibility in their spine that they would love to put both of these together. That's not something you'll see me do today, but maybe I would have done that with some other time in my life. So play around with what feels best in your body today. Okay. But I'm going to go for this one. I feel like maybe a little bit more strong support underneath my curve of the spine is going to be best for me. You're welcome to use blocks. I've used blocks before as well. Just be careful of those edges. Okay, so having that support more at the lower back here, that's where the emphasis on the stretch is going to be, where before it was the length of the spine. And I hope that you felt that when you got up, that stretch that happened. So take time lowering over your support. You know, you want your tailbone, you want your butt to touch the floor. So if you're on so much support on your lower back that that's not happening, come off the side of it a little bit. You may need to add some support underneath the knees to help out. Now the shoulders, hopefully you're touching down here. So you're getting an even deeper stretch in the front of the body now. If this crunches your shoulders into your chin, into your chest area, just take your head and just try to, you can even take your hands to your chin and just point your chin up and straight back a little bit. So same thing with the arms. They could be where they were before. They could be down by your side, palms up, palms down, whatever you like. This will be our last shape before we just do a traditional Shavasana. And then we will end class with a short breathing exercise at our seat. So at any point you're finished and you would just like to have Shavasana and me no longer talking at you, feel free to mute me. Otherwise, in about 45 seconds or so from now, we'll have the opportunity to move into a traditional Shavasana and complete our practice from there. Okay, thank you.
Close your eyes. Scan your body just like we did in the previous shape. Maybe you can feel your spine differently now. So think about the muscles supporting the spine. Maybe you need to wiggle a little side to side to get them to soften. Deep breath in. Slow breath out. Deep breath in. Slow breath out. Take your arms across your body. If you ended up in a hip opener, close your knees. And then from here, when you bend your knees and you roll to your side, maybe you can just lift that support up from underneath you. Maybe you need to come up to your seat to lower down. But whatever you choose, when you lower down, take a moment and let that spine settle. It could feel like a lot of stretching just happened when you come off of those supports. So palms up, tuck your shoulder blades in, draw the shoulders down. Rock your hips a little left and right, squeeze the glutes. Squeeze the glutes just enough to lift the hips and then let it go. Scanning your body again. Just seeing where you could practice being a little more still. And I'll let you know when it's time to come up to our seats. Deep breath in. Slow breath out. As always, you're welcome to stay here for much, much longer. When you're ready to move, just wiggle your fingers and your toes. Anything else you'd like on your way up to your seat, take your time. Okay, so your comfortable seat does not have to be the same as my seat. Just make sure you're comfortable. Close your eyes and lift up your chest, hands where it's best for you. We're going to do 3 energizing breaths, and those exhales are really going to be felt in the back of the throat. So if it feels a little bit awkward, that probably means you're doing it right. Inhale, let your belly expand. Slowly as you exhale through your nose, squeeze it out from the core. Inhale through your nose. Through your nose, exhale. Last one, inhale. Exhale. Normal breath in and out.
Palms together at the center of your chest if it is a part of your practice. If not, just keep your hands down. Take a moment to thank your mind and your body for what it's capable of today. Give yourself a compliment for taking time on yourself. And I thank you all so much for joining me, and you call this yoga. Namaste. Thanks so much, everyone. So please come to class on Friday at 10 a.m. if you like the stuff with the pillows. We do that for about double the amount of time. So if you have any questions, put it there in the chat, and hopefully I'll see you soon. Thanks. Bye.